Welcome to the CompTIA Project Plus Prepcast by baremetalcyber.com. The initiation phase is where a project shifts from concept to formally authorized work, and it's the point at which you establish the structure and discipline that will guide the entire effort. Two practices are particularly powerful at this stage: creating a RACI chart to define roles and responsibilities, and setting up a records management system to preserve and control critical project information from day one. Together, these practices create clarity, accountability, and a reliable information trail that supports governance, audits, and day-to-day decision-making. RACI, pronounced RACI, stands for Responsible, Accountable, Consulted, and Informed. It is one of the most widely recognized responsibility assignment models in project management. Responsible identifies the person or group that will perform the work. Accountable is the single individual who owns the outcome and has the authority to make final decisions. Consulted includes stakeholders who must provide input before the work can be completed or the decision made. Informed covers those who need to be kept up to date on progress or results but are not directly involved in the work. The strength of a RACI chart is that it removes ambiguity before execution begins. Without it, you may find two people both thinking they own a task, or worse, nobody stepping up because they assume someone else is handling it. It also speeds decision-making by clearly identifying who has final authority. When questions about ownership come up later, the chart acts as a reference point everyone agreed to during initiation. To build a RACI chart, start by listing your project's major deliverables, decision points, or key activities along one axis, often the vertical. Across the top, list the project roles or named individuals. For each task, assign one A for accountable, then mark the R, C, and I roles as appropriate. A good practice is to ensure each task has exactly one accountable role to avoid conflicting authority. Once drafted, review the chart with the team and stakeholders to confirm accuracy and gain buy-in. While RACI is the simplest and most common model, variations exist. RASCI, pronounced RACI, adds an S for support, those who assist with work but are not directly responsible for completion. DSE, pronounced DACI, focuses on decision roles, explicitly naming the driver, approver, contributors, and informed parties, and is useful when decisions are the primary focus. MOCA, pronounced MOCA, stands for Manager, Owner, Consulted, Helper, and Approver, and can be effective in coaching-heavy or mentoring environments. The choice of model should match the culture, complexity, and needs of your organization. Integrating the RACI chart into your initiation documentation, either in the project charter or as part of your kickoff materials, ensures that role clarity is established before work begins. It also aligns naturally with your stakeholder register and communication plan, since how people are engaged depends on whether they are responsible, accountable, consulted, or informed. Presenting the chart in the kickoff meeting helps set expectations and fosters a sense of accountability from the start. If you want, I can now continue with Part 2, which will expand on records management in initiation, including repository design, naming conventions, and document control for compliance and audit readiness. Once roles and responsibilities are locked in with your RACI chart, the next critical discipline in initiation is records management. This is the process of controlling and protecting all project-related documents, communications, and approvals from the very beginning. Without an organized system, important agreements can be lost, outdated versions can circulate, and compliance or audit requirements may be impossible to meet later. Records management in initiation begins by identifying the key documents that must be controlled from day one. These often include the project charter, stakeholder register, communication plan, business case, feasibility studies, contracts or statements of work, initial risk and issue logs, assumptions lists, and the RACI chart itself. Kickoff meeting notes and any role assignment documentation also belong in this category. Treat these as living assets that will evolve but must remain accurate, current, and retrievable. A central document repository is essential. This can be a cloud-based platform, an internal network drive, or a project management tool with document storage capabilities. The repository should have a folder structure that mirrors the project phase's initiation, planning, execution, and closing, and is intuitive enough for team members to find what they need quickly. Permissions should be role-based, ensuring that sensitive documents, like financial agreements or personal data, are only accessible to authorized individuals. Version control is non-negotiable. Without it, you risk people making decisions based on outdated or incomplete information. Your repository should track changes, maintain a history of versions, and make it clear which file is the current official copy. This protects against accidental overwrites and ensures you can verify what information was in effect at any point in time. Establishing naming conventions is another best practice that improves searchability and reduces confusion. A good naming structure often includes the date, document type, and version number. For example, the 15th of January 2024 Project Charter 1.2. Agree on the formats you'll use, such as PDF for locked documents and DOCX or XLSX for editable ones, and document these standards in your project's records management plan. Assigning documentation responsibilities ensures follow-through. The project manager or a designated project coordinator usually oversees the process, but specific team members may be responsible for maintaining deliverable-related records. For example, meeting facilitators should assign a note-taker to capture minutes, decisions, and action items in real time. Having named owners for documentation avoids the "I thought someone else was doing it" problem. Review and approval workflows should be clearly defined and time-boxed. Many initiation documents require multiple sign-offs from sponsors, subject matter experts, or legal teams. Signatures, whether digital or physical, must be stored securely, and approval status should be visible so that no one accidentally uses an unapproved draft. Document security is both a governance and trust issue. Sensitive files such as budget data, vendor contracts, or personally identifiable information should be encrypted and access controlled. Audit trails that log who accessed or edited a file can be valuable for both compliance and dispute resolution. Follow your organization's retention and data handling policies to the letter. Good records management also ties directly into governance and audit readiness. Initiation documents form the historical record of what was agreed to at the start, making them a primary reference point in audits, project reviews, or when disputes arise months later. Many project audits start by asking for initiation artifacts, so having them organized, current, and accessible demonstrates professionalism and control. Finally, as the project moves into planning, archive initiation records into a reference section of your repository. This keeps them available for historical comparison or stakeholder questions while reducing clutter in active working folders. Include metadata such as the project phase, document owner, and retention date to make future retrieval straightforward. In summary, pairing a well-constructed RACI chart with disciplined records management in the initiation phase sets your project up for clarity, accountability, and compliance. One defines who is doing what, the other preserves exactly what was decided, approved, and agreed upon. Together, they reinforce structure, streamline communication, and protect the integrity of your project from day one. Thank you for listening. Please follow baremetalcyber.com on social media and check out our books at cyberauthor.me.